Welcome to Cuts and Relays as taught here at Pendleton Heights High School. I want to go through a few basic principles that we use to teach cuts and relays in the varsity program. The key word for us is aggressive. When we think of being aggressive, oftentimes in baseball, we think of base running, being aggressive on the bases. We think of a pitcher getting ahead or challenging hitters. We may also think of being aggressive at the plate, jumping on that first pitch fastball and getting a good swing on it. But we also want to apply that same aggressive mentality to defense. But in order for that to happen and for that to be done effectively, we have to know where we're supposed to be on the field at all times. If we're going to be aggressive, there's going to be mistake throws. It's inevitable. There's going to be one-hops, there's going to be overthrows, and if we've got guys in the right positions, we can afford to take those risks. So it is without question then that every single time a ball is put into play, we need to know where we're supposed to be. So I wanted to take you through the very basic defensive philosophy that we have, even on a very simple play. And then we can start to progress into more specific or advanced positioning based on runners, where they're at, number of outs, etc. Let's start with a simple concept here. Nobody on and a single to right. The ball's hit to right field. Every single person has a responsibility now. The runner's going to be moving to first base. So we want to be able to put pressure on that runner and perhaps steal an out on the bases. So if you would, look at our basic defensive alignment. Once the ball is hit to right field, we've got to get the ball to second base. The idea is to keep the runner at first. So we're going to move in the direction that we see here on the screen. Our second baseman is going to be coming out to be our first cut. We've got our shortstop covering second base. Our third baseman is going to be in this backup role. Our center fielder is moving towards right field in case the right fielder makes an error, falls down, breaks an ankle. We've got our center fielder there to pick up the pieces. Our left fielder is moving in as well. At this point, we're going to assume that this runner is going to come around the bag a bit too far. We've all seen runners get excited that they've hit a ball to the outfield, that they've gotten on base, and they're very happy with themselves. Many runners will come around the base and be a little lackadaisical. We want this throw to happen. We want this throw to happen. We want our second baseman, as soon as he catches the ball from this position, to pivot and fire to first base. That is the goal. In order for that to safely happen, and we do have to make sure that this guy stays at first base, our catcher's number one job is to be backup for this particular play. Now, once the throw comes in, our left fielder is going to have to start thinking about moving over here to left center, because if this throw does happen, there is always the chance that the runner takes off for second. And in that case, the next throw would be from the first base bag to second base, to the shortstop covering second base. And so the left fielder would need to be here. Always be thinking a throw ahead. If there is no play on the runner, we're just going to simply get the ball here to second base, and our pitcher is kind of moving towards second in the event of a bobble around the bag. This is our basic defensive alignment on a single to right. Now, that same philosophy can be applied to a ball to center field. On a single to center, our second baseman and our shortstop at this point are going to need to be talking. We're likely going to send the shortstop out here to be the cut, because typically on a field our shortstop has a stronger arm. We want that guy to be the one who is in the mindset to throw behind the runner. Anything over here to right or right center, our second baseman has the first cut. Anything here to center or left of center will result in our shortstop being the cut. Our right fielder is moving towards center. The first cut is the shortstop. The shortstop, your job right here is to pivot and fire back to first base. We don't need a lot of room here. If the runner is off 10 to 12 feet and that ball comes flying in, we have a decent chance to catch a guy sleeping. If there is no play to be had on the runner at first, we just get the ball into second base. Our pitcher should not be too far this time, because our pitcher needs to be in backup mode. He is the one backup now that we have, and so we need to be pretty deep here. In fact, we wouldn't want to be too far off the mound itself, so we can move left or right when the ball comes in. As before, the runner must be held at first base. Lastly, on a single to left, we implement the same philosophy. We want the shortstop to be our cut, being that he is the closest in addition to likely having the strongest arm. We want the throw from the shortstop to first to happen. Note that our catcher has gotten further and further up the line each time. We want to draw a line through the cut, the first baseman, and the catcher. This is how it should be. Now, it's difficult to visualize it here because of the dimensions of this digital field, but the catcher has got to be pretty deep. The catcher needs to be deep enough so that he can move laterally depending on the errant throw. We want to make sure that this guy is deep enough to get a read on a high or low throw as well. And that is the basic defensive philosophy behind our alignment on a nobody on single anywhere to the outfield.